And we're live. Welcome back, everybody, for session 5 of City of the Future. Uh, we open this session on our Freyine merchant, Landul, having just negotiated with his somewhat dubious benefactor, the trade mistress Akala, the Kalfar merchant, purveyor in many different trades and industries, it would seem, as Landul has recently discovered. But Landul, I believe you were heading back from her place of business,
Uh-huh.
and I give it over to you.
uh, uh, well, as I walk back to the trading headquarters of the Freya Zigzalimosna in the city, I'll describe what my character looks like. In case
Yes.
anyone's forgotten. Uh, yes, I still look very similar to how I looked at the beginning. There's only one exception. So I have very pale skin with a slight golden tinge. Uh, my hair is short and very well kept, of a silky blonde color. Uh, my face in the Freudian fashion has makeup on it, golden makeup around his eyes, but it's only it's not a excessive amount. He hasn't like plastered his face with golden makeup. Only a small amount around the eyes. He's wearing like a sharp vest. This is the same vest he always wears, which has the logo of the Freya Zigzag Mazda emblazoned on the chest. I have got a picture of that, but I don't know how to share pictures on this. And he wears a sword around, but again, it's purely for show. He doesn't have. He only has very basic training, which is like obvious just from how he handles it. He doesn't, you don't see him walk into a room and like, no one's going to be like, oh, he knows how to use that. And he also now wears a turban on his head of aquamarine cloth, uh, which helps him sort of blend in a bit more with the other inhabitants of the city, because turbans are a quite popular choice in the city, and that's about how he looks at the moment. So anyway, as I travel back to the headquarters, uh, walk in the front, I like to go to where the slaves are being held, wherever that may be.
Uh, the number of the slaves and the relative confines of your company's establishment
Mm-hmm.
is such that the slaves of numerous species, which were surprisingly left on your doorstep just this morning, are sort of being held everywhere because there isn't enough space to dedicate a single location for these individuals, as you quite correctly pointed out to Akala. It is not quite in your experience to handle or care for living sapient commodities.
Yes.
And several of the of your your comrades are nervously sort of you're keeping the peace. Not that there's any efforts to escape or to cause any ruckus, at least at this time. You sense immediately as you enter in this place of an air of extreme discomfort,
Yeah.
and sort of people are standing around, kind of not sure exactly what this is all about or what they should be doing, but
Right.
the slaves are still in chains,
Yeah.
weighted and bound, and there is about a dozen of them
hmm
in your place of residence. So you can find, and there are several species here. There is there
You're the
are
cat person. I remember that.
what's that?
I think one of the like cat people, the like lion people.
That is true. There is one
Yeah.
of those individuals whose name of its species you're not aware of at this time, but there is a feline, an anthropomorphic cat creature. There is likewise two anthropomorphic fox-like humanoids. There are species you well know to be humans here. A few Kalfar, who is a species you also are quite aware of. There is one individual whose appearance matches that of your erstwhile companion Naze, although its coloration is somewhat different, a darker shade of bluish green than you recall from the other sprite you have met the acquaintance of. There are also 3 ogres here, which is also cause for concern. Their size and their musculature also, making it quite apparent their capabilities and their perhaps their desirability as a slave. But yes, there are several different individuals here. About 2/3 of them male, and the other third female. You're not really sure what gender the cat humanoid is, but yeah. And they all look, well, not all of them. Most of them have a sort of dejected and already a sort of defeated look to their person and how they're bearing. A number of them seem actually physically pained by what you're not sure. They're not being mistreated. You don't see wounds on them. At least you didn't when you first saw them. But nevertheless, that's the you can tell that quite clearly on some of them, particularly the sprite and the 2 fox men creatures.
Well, I'll go up to one of the fraying sort of what would you call them, like cargo handler, just the Freys that work here, and ask him, excuse me, can you please gather up all of the slaves here? I'd like to speak with them.
Of
And
course,
just
sir.
get him to
How
just bring him out.
he opens his mouth as if he's going to say more, but with your sort of final
Well,
command, get them all gathered. He
yeah,
does.
all in the like in the loading area where like everyone, like all the
Yeah,
other
which
workers,
is
so they're like, yeah,
they bring
not
them all
like a,
there, which is really the
yeah.
only place that would be large enough to
Hmm.
have them all there, and each of these strange individuals are brought into your holding area, your sort of small cargo room on the ground floor of your of the building.
When they're all gathered, I'll speak in what's the language? Thuban, because that appears to be the most common language in this city, the one that most of them would understand at least. And I'll say, slaves, you may not know me, and I do not know you, but you may have heard of my species. We do not like slaves or slavery, and we frown upon it. It is through an unfortunate series of events that you have come into our possession, and as I have said, we do not like slavery, and in fact we won't stand for it. So as such, I'm going to set you free. If you would like, perhaps to show your gratitude for this, I'm more than welcome to employ some of you. I'm particularly looking for either a bodyguard or two, or
At your proclamation that
Mhm.
they will be set free, about half of them begin to sort of like you can't even you have to raise your voice to continue your sentence as there's excited chatter. You're setting us free. They're setting us free. The ogres sort of look to each other, not just glaring. They don't seem to understand, nor does the cat individual, the Shion. One of the kitsunes, not that you're aware of them. One of the fox individuals looks confused to the other of its kind, which is standing nearby, is translating to some other language you're not sure, and sure enough, she begins to sort of her eyes light up and becomes excited with the prospect of being set free. But continue.
So, if you are not interested in working under our employ, you are more than free to go on your way. Just always remember that it was the Freya Zigzali Mazda that gave you back your freedom. And if you are interested in perhaps fulfilling one of the jobs I mentioned earlier, which was a bodyguard or someone to help me perhaps travel through the desert slightly in search of a tribe that dwells within, please come and talk to me. I'll be waiting I'll stay here. And with that, I don't think we have the keys to these slaves' keys to their locks, rather their chains and stuff.
They are chains and manacles and you do have the means to relinquish these
I'll
these
signal to
people.
the Freys, the workers who I assume have been sort of watching this, to start releasing the slaves.
And it takes them sort of a moment. Keys are not are something of an exotic item in these times of sort of Iron Age-esque savagery. But you sure enough, the your companions release these people. A couple of your more learned employees taking the opportunity to inform the ogres in their tongue what is going to happen to them before they release them, making their glares and grimaces dissipates only slightly. And with some trepidation, as some of the manacles are quite clearly of Tuhulian blood iron, those that are binding the Fey slaves, they work a little bit more carefully with those so as not to be affected. But with this, most of the people in your room, almost as if they didn't hear or didn't understand or don't care. You're really not sure, as the commotion and the cheers and the cries and the crying and the exultation, it sort of, some of them stand, or a lot of them stand around sort of dumbfounded for a moment, as if not really believing that they would just be set free. What's the catch here? Who knows how long these people have been bound in chains? From whence in Kavega Thale were they captured? It could be days, chains, perhaps a cycle or more. You don't know. They don't look like they're that broken, but sort of. It's not the situation most slaves find themselves upon. So, after much sort of astonishment, almost all of them leave. They don't stick around for employment. For your business, they just want to get out of there.
Fair enough.
But there are some who do remain with you. Whether it's due to further confusion, not having a place to go, or an actual desire to join up with you, if they even understand the concept of sort of fraying, ritualized employment. There's one ogre, a human, one of the fox individuals, and after a time, the sprite, whose coloration is is similar but somewhat different than Nays has been. Um, Approaches you along with another human, a human female with sort of dusky, um, with a dirty blonde hair that's been looks like her hair was much longer, but it had been roughly cut short to the head, and because everyone here are wearing ragged clothing, um, approaches you and in a very accented and sort of poorly um, intoned Thuban, sort of, walks up to you. Um, you you said you are going to the the desert, yes? You
That
have freed us. I I I don't know what to say.
don't
I did not
don't
think
don't fret too
possible.
much. It is slaves are not our way. Uh, Please, what is your name?
And he nods. He doesn't even immediately answer your question as if you're slaves. That's not the right way. It makes, of course it does. That's not the right way. And he nods to himself, as if convincing himself of something internally. You're not sure. My brother was sold before me to some another merchant. I heard the uh, our captors say she was a merchant, a caravaneer of sorts who goes into the desert. I have to find him. I have to find him. If
Ah,
you are going out there, perhaps you'll run into this this person, or maybe you know of her. But if you are venturing out there, I would like to come.
uh, well, I may be venturing out there. I can't say exactly when. I still have to prepare. Uh, but if you would like to accompany me, you are more than welcome. If we happen to find your brother, perhaps we will be able to make some sort of deal to buy his freedom from whoever owns him.
You
Are you capable? Have you traveled in the desert before, or are you a skilled fighter?
he looks down dejectedly. I am no fighter. My name is Poe. I'm I come from trade. I am not a as if remembering something. My sister, my brothers. Our parents were entertainers. We were apprenticed to them. We are not great fighters or whatever you are. I have seen your kind before.
Yes. In fact, I have seen seen your kind before as well. I ran into a sprite myself when I first arrived at this city. Her name was Nay. Uh, in fact, I haven't seen her since a
And
few.
he turns to the human female who's standing with him. And what languages do you speak again?
I speak Dazazese, obviously, Morgulish, Pelganese, and Thuban.
Hmm. Okay. Starts speaking excitedly, at an incredible pace, at a language you're not familiar familiar with. It sounds like a rapid melody of various sounds and syllables that you can't even begin to make out, whether it's the speed and high pitched tone of this sprite's voice. You're not sure, but Nay, you said you've seen another one like me, and that was her name. It was Nay. You said, where is she?
I'm afraid I haven't seen her in several chains. She ran ran away from. Last I saw her, she was running away.
Like me? I thought she escaped.
No, she was not in chains.
Who's taken her?
She was very much free, but she was in the company of a very large reptile man, who I must say was most unsavory. So I can't vouch for her safety now, I'm afraid.
I do not.
She also had her, as I forgot about him. She also was in the company of an ogre by the name of Dill.
Dill. Yes, she must have. He's like almost overcome. He doesn't know what to really say, and is sort of beside himself with. Was in chains, and now I'm free, and now all this is running through his mind. And he's sort of unable to continue talking. So much new information is being put upon him, and the human female turns to you. My recent friend here is no combatant, as you can see, but he has been a great friend to me in these recent times. I have no family, none left now, and I have no place to go. I have been here for some time. But if there are others, and if you mean to free others who shared the same fate as myself, and if I can help my friend in some way, I was once a guardsman in Bale.
What? I can't say that we mean to free every slave in the city. We simply aren't capable of that. However, if we get the opportunity, I'm sure we can help young Poe here.
Is that not what you people are here? I've heard stories of your people. You have a cast of warriors, crusaders of the light. I do not know your tongue well, but Solas Kriegers, I believe. Is that not?
Indeed, we do. The Freyan people do indeed have such warriors. I'm afraid that we are but a simple trading company who happened, through, shall we say, some miscommunication, happened to acquire these slaves, or you slaves, as you were. And as I have said, we do not condone slavery. And so this is the result, but I'm afraid this is a one-time affair, unless we happen to, for some reason, acquire a lot more slaves. But somehow I doubt that. Anyway, what was your name? I'm afraid I didn't catch it.
My name is Jala.
Well, Jala, I'd be more than happy to have you and your friend Poe along. I'll feel much more safe with someone who knows the business end of a blade from the other by my side.
And she looks around as, do you have such implements if you are not
Of
warriors?
course,
If you are.
we do have a basic supply of should I say company issued weapons such as this one. I'll indicate my Khopesh on my hip. Uh, are you familiar with this sort of weapon?
I have seen others use it. Some of the guards of the traders who enter the city, mostly your kind. I have never wielded it, but I am
Well,
trained.
I'm sure you'll be able to find something to your liking.
I am sure it will suffice.
Well, excellent then. Uh,
Yeah.
I'm going to be going back into the city shortly. If you would, I'll give you a few hours to prepare yourselves. That you will have access. You should be able to acquire a uniform as well somewhere in the trade
You
company.
should beware if you are merely simple traders, though ones with good hearts, for sure. I do not believe Durzan would take lightly the release of his quarry.
Well, unfortunately for
He's a
Durzan,
wicked man.
he delivered you as goods in order to trade for our goods, which made you our property, and we can do with you what we want. In this case, it's set you free. That
She
is what happened, isn't it? Didn't misunderstand that. He came and took all of our
she
goods in exchange for the
smiles
slaves.
at the the twisting of the situation in the benefit of an admirable outcome. Um, she clearly takes some smug satisfaction in your words there. Well,
Yes, well, hopefully they won't send us any more slaves.
I
Uh,
did not see any other shipment. Some few poor bastards were given over to the Church of He who has many names already.
mm,
I have not seen any of uh, this woman's people to whom Poe's brother has been sent, but I've heard her name many
mm,
times. It seems as though the merchants who brave the wastes of the deserts out there are always in need of more hands, more.
uh, I'm afraid I know very little about them myself, only
Know
that.
why she would.
Uh,
I do not know what usage a one so small would assist with, but there you have it.
we can only speculate. Uh,
Well,
yes, as I said, feel free to take some time
thank
to
you.
adjust, prepare yourself. Uh, I'll be I'll be available. Simply ask one of the Freyans if you require anything or if you need to see me. Uh, are there more slaves or anything waiting to see me, or is this pretty much
None
all
sort of
the
waiting to see you, but there are a couple more that have remained behind. Um, the I believe I said one ogre has stayed behind and is uh, in addition to these two people, there's an ogre, a female kitsune, um,
Mm-hmm.
and the Shion.
Is that the cat? The
Yes.
anthropomorphic. Feline, yes.
the Nergali, um,
Uh,
a saber-toothed cat-like humanoid, um, who is
uh,
mad. Um,
I'll
they are
go up
being
to.
sort of seen to and uh, talking with the Freyans that initially released them from their shackles.
So they don't look confused about the situation. Uh,
Well, I mean,
that I can tell.
they might still be, but they're still talking with. I mean, this has only happened like a couple minutes ago. No
Yeah.
doubt they're quite confused. You know, but they haven't rushed out the door yet, like many of the others have. So they
Uh,
don't seem like they're intent to, but it's not like yeah
I
yes
was
no one
I
has
was
like signed their papers yet.
yeah,
It's more
I was more wondering if there was someone who still hadn't got the message, and I was going to go explain to them in all my languages in case they understood it, but that's all right.
no they
Uh,
seem to understand or are being made to understand by
Excellent.
your other employees at the moment.
Well then, with that, I'd like to retire to my quarters, and I want to meditate. uh,
Okay. You may do so.
Meditating is important for me.
It certainly is. It certainly is for you.
Yeah.
Perhaps this, you know, recent act of compassion will settle your spirits such that you will not roll
I
low
can
again,
I can hope.
and you won't be a victim for succubi.
Uh, no, I don't think that's enough. Okay. I need to beat a 15. I'm pretty sure. Uh,
Okay?
oh, I know I got a 15. That is a 15.
I believe that's
Uh,
እናugh, isn't it?
awesome. I'll just write it down as 15. I can check.
I
Uh,
don't know what your stats are, but I believe that's sufficient.
Alright. Uh, Alright then. Well, assuming that is enough, my meditation finally is
Perhaps
peaceful.
appropriately enough.
That's very fitting, I think. Uh, this takes a few hours. I don't know if maybe you want to cut the other guys. I feel like that's sort of a
Yeah,
good
so
spot.
with your mind drifting out into the dreamlands to reflect and meditate upon these recent events. Perhaps finally, your first step to turning the tides on from being used to being the user. Um, maybe or maybe not. Time will tell. But we change scene, and we're back in the depths of the one of the many hidden places that are home to initiates and higher ranked uh, devotees, the Order of the Claw. And Yasun is finishing informing Ney and Hunrei of the recent task that is being put before them to find and face and recover knowledges from a Cyclops oracle who hides his presence as a scribe of sorts, a numbers person in the employ of a individual named Durzan near the Lechner Row.
Hmm.
Do you
Can
have
we describe? Can we
Oh,
describe
oh yes,
ourselves
my
before we
apologies. So
start?
take this
'Cause I know
this opportunity to describe both your characters, as it has been some time.
do you mind if I go first, Alice? Because it sort of involves you. So we left off, I think, last session, and Hunrei was going to be doing some drawing upon my flesh, and Nay is just a small 11, closer to 10-inch tall sprite with blue-grey skin. She is often seen with a curious expression on her face, as most things in this world are new to her. She wears little clothing, nothing but a few pieces of cloth around her waist and breast. Carries no items of wealth upon her, no bags or other things. Like all sprites, well, since living underground in this place and spending a lot of time sort of reading, head over book reading, my hair started to annoy me for the first time in her life, always getting in the way, having to pull it back. So some makeshift barbery has been done on her hair, cutting it back to a short yet like sort of messy cut, just sort of around in a circle rather than having long hair, and then jutting up from this sort of like raggedy, crooked hair now is as always the two not antlers. What do you bloody call them? Sorry. What
Antenna?
Yeah, antennas.
Yes.
Sorry, yeah, my brain freeze. The two antennas drawn upon her flesh, with almost all this work done by Hunrei, one like greyish white circle upon each cheek, from as praised to Ahriman, from her neck down. I can see many sort of small, worm-like things, which are actually caterpillars, and at the bottom of a neck, sort of along these bones. What's that? That's your collarbone. See sort of like a cocoon, and then at the end, emerging from a cocoon, is a butterfly on each shoulder. But the butterflies, because of the smallness of Nay's body, these are not extremely detailed to the finest level. They're sort of just a butterfly. It's just a sort of imagine just a finger and then like another smudging of paint. Not superly detailed, but anyone could sort of make out what they are. And that is what I look like at present. What Nay looks like.
And in front of Nay, this very tiny creature stands something way larger. A Sirouche, an anthropomorphic alligator. Brown skin, orange eyes, just finishing up putting on a hide armor, a leather worked armor by his own creation. It is grey rhinoceros hide, sleeveless, for Hunrei does not care that much about the protection of his own arms and face, for he has a very thick hide which protects him naturally. Upon his brown flesh, he has very recently scarred himself with his own curved long claws and added black inks and dyes into these scars. Not enough to damage him or cause infection, but a scarification ritual that can very easily be seen if one would possess skill over Thraxa, and it's Thuban, Thuban, and how it is written. One could make out crude symbols of hunt and such activities being written upon the flesh, the scales, Komodo dragon-like scales. And he turns to Vasoon, looking down upon the anthropomorphic cobra, very much looking down as my head is way higher up than this creature is. My orange eyes. Looking down, waiting for further instructions upon my prey.
As I say, this enemy, this mage, makes his identity a secret. He works in the employ of a man named Durzan, a slaver, as I have explained before. There is a...
I know that name.
You do.
I've heard that name before. And this is like back to her, thinking back to the most sort of darkest hours. I was in the bag of the weaving upon Dill's back, and we were following the human slavers, and Durzan was the name they said when they were talking about my mother who was dead. They said Durzan wanted her alive. But that was in trade. Are many people called Durzan?
I do not know. I have never met another with that name. You said when you came to us you were seeking family. Yes.
Yes, my brothers and my father.
Then perhaps the foresight of our mistress and of the powers that she has taught us, and will begin teaching to you, have proved fortuitous, not just for our order, but for you as well. For Durzan is a great...
Who is our mistress?
And he gestures to the, not that it is discernible, but female Typhon, who has thus far remained silently observing in this room on the other side of the stone table / altar. This is one of the daughters of our mistress, the one who brought us each together to share in the secrets of the knowledges that have only just been exposed to you. Her name is
Uh,
not
uh, uh,
one at the moment, but
I look and nod at her, and uh, and sort of trying to be as polite as possible. I say, light and 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 happy dreams upon you, and then just sort of like nod my head at her.
when she bows her head as well, but does not immediately respond. Yes, this is one of the daughters of Trithundu, the one who has opened these secrets unto us. But if you are searching for family, and that name has been the clue that has led you here, then I fear your family, if they yet live, does not enjoy the freedom that you both do now.
Well, of course they don't. They've been enslaved.
Yes, but
As I sort of looking at Hunrei, trying to sort of judge his disposition at the moment, and I'm actually hoping that he's sort of maybe his change of breath, breathing a bit differently, just as any sort of sign that he's getting angry. I've seen him get angry a few times, and I'm hoping to see some sort of emotional response there.
If anything, if you have good grades of insight, you might pick up that I am a bit excited, maybe, that I have some what I hope to be worthy prey. Has been such a long while since I stalked and hunted anyone capable of magical practices. I'm at the moment looking towards the female Typhon, whom I was able to discern was female because of my dracoid sense of smell. I'll look towards her, not nodding because I have very poor diplomacy and don't know about such customs.
right.
And then stare Vasun right into the face, waiting for him to, yes, get on with it.
Yeah. Let this realization guide your hand. For this Cyclops, its name is Nurox. It tracks the comings and goings of the sapient commodities that Durzan trades in.
I assume the name is in Thraxa.
Yes.
As I speak and write it, do I know if it means anything? If there's if there's a significance to the nomenclature?
You detect that you being so thoroughly versed in Thraxa, it's a sort of abbreviated form of sort of the phrase of the glowing eye.
Its name has significance. This is good. This is prey to be known. Do you have of its scent, so I may track?
There is a portion of the city that lies above ground on the far end of the Letna Row of the great slave market. But though it lies within the gaze of the dead Ahura Mazda, his light scarcely reaches this portion of the city, for it is entrenched deep amongst narrow rock formations and stone structures which the Kalfar have engraved upon and within them great tapestries, pieces of colored canvas block out the sunlight and make it as though it were Ahura Mazda's eyes gazing down at the sun's zenith. But such things will prove little difficulty for your eyes. Within the twisting streets of this section of the city, I have heard it referred to by some as the Drag.
Then in this drag we shall find the quarry. Yes. What is our prey? You call it Cyclops.
A vile species.
Does it possess fang, claw, great jaw to bite?
Its features are strange. Claws, though none near the sharpness of yours, are possessed by this species, as well as a great beak. Rather than the facial structure of those such as you and I, and a single eye upon the center of its forehead, which may be extended on a tubular stalk. It's said that this species may sometimes have glimpses, perceptions of Nathraxu that other species are not privy to.
Are you saying he will see us coming?
No, I do not believe so. For his power, I do not believe, is so great as to be a master of the oracular arts.
Then it will die.
Do not attack it from behind, as Cyclopses possess a hard, insect-like shell upon which grows strange insectile bristles like that of a fly or on a spider, perhaps.
I look towards Vasun, like, yeah, I have all the information I need. I think I need. And I rise, look towards Nay.
Let us go. The hunt for the glowing eye begins.
You will know. The
I'm ready to see this guy again.
look for the structure. Canopied, its roof constructed of the skin of some scintillating hide of some reptilian creature. You are ready.
And I walk out. At the moment, have we had any... How should I put it? Have we been taught the layout of this area and how to exit it ourselves, or has that remained hidden from us?
Yes, the how to like leave, and there are a couple different exits, and you've been informed of the general sort of layout of the surrounding area. So, yeah, you have a basic grasp.
Yeah, I fully believe that I can find this person.
And you've been here for an extra week or chain or so, longer than Nay has as well. So you, Hunrei, also have a greater understanding of the layout of
Yeah,
the city.
I think I do.
You think.
Well, with grades of perception and outdoorsman, I shall do this. And I walk outside into this cavernous, grotto-filled city, completely unaware of what day it is, or if it's night, or if Ahura Mazda is up on the sky.
You hear it? Wait, Unra! And I'm running after you. Though my strides struggling to keep up with you.
I stop and wait until you approach me, and then reach down with my claw. We probably need to move around the specific claws and get into the palm so I can lift you up so that you don't injure yourself.
And I'd sit upon your palm and then upon your shoulder, I guess, as you pull it up.
Now, Dill was not invited into this this meeting. Are you going to attempt to bring him, or are you going to ask him to remain behind?
Well, I have no idea where Dill is, and I am not going to look for Dill. For I am very unimpressed by that red creature, not believing he can handle himself in combat.
He is back in your sort of resting area, common area, but
I haven't sensed so much time with him, but I have been sensing his frustration in being cooped up with nothing to do. So I will ask, Hunrei, can we just go get Dill? He's in the sleeping room. It'll take no time at all.
If you say so. Point the way.
okay.
And before we get to Dill, I'm just going to say, so you haven't forgotten, have you?
What?
You haven't forgotten your promise?
To feed him or teach you languages?
No, to remember your dream. You haven't forgotten, have you? I'm starting to get worried that that you're going to forget the fact that I've taken you to the dreamland.
took you so long to get it right?
Vague, hazy images float in my mind of what witchcraft you put upon me.
Not witchcraft. That is opiate.
Like, yeah, whatever you say. And I walk towards the area where I think Dill is, so you can talk to the big red thing.
And yeah, switching to Moolish. Dill, we're going to the surface again.
The surface.
Well, the people, these Typhon here, they've managed to. Well, I think they've found one of the people involved in the slavers, that Durzan. But that's not who we're going after. We're going after someone who works for Durzan. He's probably a slaver.
I remember that name.
Yes, it's what those slavers said. That Durzan wanted her alive. Hunray is going to track him and find him.
I will come with you. I want to kill this Durzan. He killed our mother.
Yes.
And you could, as you've explained, like your sense that he has been getting more and more sort of frustrated at being cooped up in here, and this new knowledge is sort of causing some of that rage which all ogres possess in their hearts to sort of bubble closer to the surface, closer than it has been in some time.
Yep. You'll get your chance, Dill. As I wish to get mine as well. But Hunray here, he will find them. Durzan will find him eventually. Though maybe not today. We will get the people who work for him. And as less and less people serve him, his strength will dwindle, and then we will have our chance.
Yes.
So I turn to Hunray, and switching into a language he understands, said, "We are ready."
I nod and hand you over to Dill.
Sorry.
And then after you climb up on the ogre, I turn around and walk out. Fully intend to begin this hunt. It's been far too long since Hunray Sumelra engaged in hunting of sentient flesh.
Okay. So you make your way confidently. The exit to this area looks very similar to the way in which you entered, passing through from worked stone in these natural caverns to fully unblemished tunnels and passageways. And there is another sort of like hatchway almost that leads out into a small alleyway, so narrow and so and narrow and shallow that its presence would, be very difficult to find or to be anything noticeable unless you were looking for it specifically. And you move outward once again into the larger, wider streets, which show the same activity that you recall, as it is early afternoon at this point, and even in the shadow of these this alleyway, as you move out into the wider streets, the brightness of the sun's light blinds you almost for a moment or two. So long have you been down, hidden among the depths, amidst artificial illumination, fire, and gentle flickering light, not the bright gaze of an elder creator. But your eyes soon adjust, and it's almost as if you're in a whole nother world, whereas the environment you came from was dim and silent and almost stoic in a way. Yet the minute you breach the surface, it's bright and loud and crowded, and your senses are assaulted with a variety of smells. The food stalls cooking various things, the smell of spices and other goods in the marketplaces, the smell of animal waste from pack animals and optalangs and such, the smell of bodies, of which there are many. Your noses had become used to the smell of incense and parchment and inks and dyes. But you, Hunrei, at least in the moment, are aware of your surroundings. For the moment, you are in a place that's at least somewhat familiar to you. You came to this portion of the city soon after Jin had left you to your own devices to hunt and defend for yourself in this sprawling place. But if you would give me a outdoorsman, I believe would be most sensible here, if you wish to.
Unless you want me to roll streetwise, that would give me a -4. So, because I have nothing in streetwise, but I can make a roll for that.
Remember why Mother and Father chose to live away from the city? These smells. Ugh. Where's the fresh air?
I will let you do an outdoorsman only because of the weird way in which you are viewing this. You have sort of maintained that role-playing feature that this is just another sort of environment in nature, a hunting ground. So I'll let you do an outdoorsman, given your.
A total of 9.
Okay. So it takes you a bit longer than it otherwise might if if you hadn't been away from this area for some time. It takes you a moment to attune your senses and recollect in your mind what the various landmarks mean, the locations of different smells that mark different portions of this landscape. But you were able to, in time, about an hour, as you are not near the Lechnero where you are. You're able to meander your way towards.
Yeah,
Great
not
sleep circle.
that a lot of the smells in the city are repulsive or disgusting to me. Mostly that they are confusing to me. Again, being a cannibal and flesh eater, and eat only raw and putrid flesh, such stenches do not touch me in the slightest. But the sweetness of fruits and baked goods and such things do throw off my sense of smell because it's so new and unknown to my nostrils. So I walk through several alleyways and thoroughfares, confused by my surroundings to a noticeable degree, looking for this Cyclops species that Vasun described for me, looking around, and not discreetly either. See, again, only one single grade in diplomacy and nothing in stealth, so where are those Cyclops?
You're casing the the streets, like the crowd, to see if there's a member of this Cyclops species that you can. Okay, give me a perception.
Yeah.
Or no, there is no perception in this. Yes, there is. Sorry.
Sight-based or smell-based?
Sight-based, as you wouldn't be able to put the smell to anything yet, even if you were able to smell it.
Ooh. 10. That was a really poor roll.
You don't see anything matching the description of that was given to you by Vasun, a beaked, hard-shelled, one-eyed humanoid creature. Nothing like that seems to match the descriptions that you were given. Alas. But
so there will be quite the hours of me stumbling around looking for this Lechnero, which I think, at least my character would say, that place where weak creatures are being sold, those that cannot escape from slavery themselves.
Yeah. And
I make my way to that area through luck, bumbling, and sense of smell.
Okay, and it does indeed smell. It smells the smell of this area of the city is markedly different from the rest. There is no sweet smelling, baked goods, or the smell of spices or other goods. And smell only the smell of sweat and waste and perhaps weakness to your Sarushi senses.
You
The
mean
smell of
food?
defeat and the smell of fear and the smell of shame.
Huh? Food.
Yeah, right. Yeah, perhaps. As this area is located, the streets sort of incline down slightly, as if there's the city was built over a narrow or a natural indentation in the land beneath it. There's a wide bazaar of sorts, a wide, courtyard area, which is dominated by a large circle that is walled with almost like a large series of fences of wood and of bone, whalebone or some other large creature that is encircling this marketplace where species of several sorts are being sold off. Some you recognize human, some, in fact, several Tsurushi, like you see in the distance are sort of being gestured at and poked and described for large crowds of greedy onlookers.
Sure.
And unfortunately, the price makes little sense to you. Whether they're getting a good price or not is probably irrelevant and unknown to you, given your upbringing. But
Oh yeah,
many of them,
whatever
So-
pricings and such they scream out through this grotesque auctions are unknowable to me. I do not view currency, or I barely know what currency is.
And as we've sort of been bunched up a bit tighter now, to trying to get Hunrei, say, are we just going to leave these people? Surely they deserve freedom.
What would you have me do?
Well,
Charge in
wouldn't it be
me
grand?
against hundreds? No. They must
Wouldn't
help
it be such a...
themselves.
Imagine the grand prayer to the King of Freedom it would be to rid this place of slavery, set these people free.
Yes, but they must take steps themselves. The King of Freedom does not simply give. You must show worth, and then you may have freedom. That is the lesson we were taught during the Purge of Shadows, when 77 days of darkness reigned, and we slayed our enslavers.
77 days of darkness. I'm just a little bit overwhelmed by that as we sort of continue moving.
It was before counting of days. And even longer than the time from then till now, even longer than that, we were in chains. Now we are not, because we are strong, because we took freedom. It was not given, but we took it. And we killed the Nahuali, and we killed all who served them. Several species extinct by our hand alone. Such is our might. Know it, and then you may know why we have earned freedom.
In my head, when he said, "Such is our might," I thought, "Such is your hunger."
Is there really a difference?
No. I don't agree with you, Hunrei. I just can't. Your
What?
world is... It's too violent.
I speak truth.
Well, look at me. Like, what could I have done in chains? Well, once someone's been enslaved, cast in iron chains, what can they do themselves to get them out of it? They can't.
You have witchcraft.
They need help. Witchcraft, I can do nothing against chains. Chain me to a post and I will be there and die. I'll stay there and starve. As would you, if no one
No, I would
if no one helped
break
you set
them.
free. You
I
would
am
break
strong
iron
enough to
chains.
break iron.
I look at you like I'm completely serious.
Well, I look at you like you're telling a lie, so... Yeah, I look at you like you're telling a lie just for the purpose of winning an argument. And I guess maybe both of us stubborn sides come out and we continue on the
And
path.
it's a strange juxtaposition, having this discussion. Both sides of the argument being, out there to see, as there are slaves dejected and broken. There are slave masters who are confident in their strength and in their mastery over these broken people. But for every handful of dejected and broken shell of a humanoid, there is, for those who would care to look, there are some, though they are not by any means the majority, who seem to exemplify Hunrei's position as one who might look closely, a slave master who was not so overconfident. Were he to look into their eyes, might see fire yet unquenched still in their eyes, perhaps enough to win their own freedom at a later date. But who can say?
No, I fully expect them to do. And I continue to look for this one-eyed creature that resembles something between a bug, a bird, and a snail in my head.
Okay. You may give me another perception.
Ooh, that's way better. Again, sight-based, I assume.
Yes.
So 15 this time.
Hmm. So you do see in the distance a creature that seems to resemble this description you were given. It is on the outskirts of the crowds that are sort of observing, and some of them bidding on these slaves. It is somewhat difficult to determine from a distance, but as you approach, you see a large humanoid that is definitely one of these cyclopses, as covering its back, making its sort of posture a bit awkward. It's kind of hunched slightly over, even in just standing still as it is. You see a single eye perched atop a fleshy stalk, looking around, examining, surveying the crowd, or perhaps what is up there on the for sale. It's hard to tell. You're not used to following the gaze of an eye that's on top of an eye stalk. It's a bit disconcerting, perhaps. And rather than the lips and face of a other humanoids, its mouth is that of a strange beak, perhaps reptilian, but you're not really sure. It doesn't seem to match, something like a turtle's beak or something. But nor is it avian entirely either. Something all its own. You see narrow slits in the clavicles of this creature, which expand and contract slightly with every couple of seconds, with the rise and fall of its chest.
I lock my eyes towards the being, and I assume it's some fair distance away from me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't smell it from here, or make out its smell in this gigantic crowd.
Probably not from here, although you would might be able to pick up its scent if you get a little bit closer. Although it's still somewhat difficult given the proximity of people and the potence of the smell of numerous people in this area.
I will wait. I think I have my prey, and I wait.
Okay.
So for a moment where I could perhaps get closer, get the scent, and then engage in hunt.
Okay.
While not tactically minded or a great military genius by any stretch, I do know that trying to engage it in a gigantic crowd is dumb and foolish. So I will wait until the numbers are lessened, and then I will engage it.
Okay, so you're trying to remain unseen by it for the moment until either, I guess, people leave or it leaves, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
What? I've noticed this sort of stop, and there. Let's get him, Hunray.
Wait.
Put your claws to. Oh, wait. Wait for what? Wait for darkness?
The moment to strike. It is not now. Too many cattle. Too many to interrupt the hunt.
So looking around, noticing the loaded street, and so I sort of think back to that marketplace scene. Yes, if we make ourselves known to everyone, the slavers will reveal themselves. Yes, let us wait. Yeah, you're right, Henry. And in Thraxa, I'll say, I'll say you're right, and then in Thraxa, I'll say Ironbreaker. As a bit of a joke, as if I'm mocking your words earlier.
Your mockery goes completely over my head. I think you're praising me.
And then I'll sit and wait.
Yes,
So then I respond in Thraxa.
much iron will break.
So as you're closer to this individual, you see that it is sparsely dressed, not cloaked in the voluminous robes of some of the Kelfar you have seen, nor is it wearing just simple coverings of scale and hide like some of the sirens you have witnessed in your time here. It's as though its clothing is constructed out of two long strands of fabric, like long, wide ribbons, which have sort of been wrapped around the legs and then around the waist, and sort of draped over the shoulders, such that it's hard to describe, but its beetle-like shell on its back is left exposed, and wrappings are draped over its shoulders and ran along the length of its arms. A strange sort of garmentry. You see a couple pouches upon its person, one at its waist, another two from fastened to sort of straps along its chest. At its side, its opposite side on its hip, there is what looks to be a crude sort of club that is affixed on the striking end with looks like the teeth of some creature. You're not sure what. Its fangs, it's clearly the fangs of some animal, though not any such that resemble yours, Hunrei, or anything quite so reptilian.
Make a note of it, and I know that I will have that thing.
Given that you are sort of taking the hunt at the forefront, Hunrei, why don't you give me a stealth as you're trying to remain unseen and unsmelled by, if indeed this thing can even smell, by this Cyclops.
That was an immensely poor roll. Yeah, that's a total of 3.
What do we got there? It's hard for me to see.
A 1 and a 2. And I have 0 grades in stealth.
Cannot hear you.
Oh, I can hear him. Can you hear me, Nick?
Let's see if that's me.
Yeah, Nick. We.
Can you hear
Hello?
me?
Hello?
Mm.
Yeah, I can hear all the players. I can't hear.
Yeah.
I can hear Nick, but he doesn't seem to be able to hear us.
Anybody hear me? I hope so. I cannot hear anybody else. Oh, good. Well, why can't... Technical difficulties.
Can you hear us now?
A 3. Okay, noted. I
blame it on Dill.
keep on talking, just so I...
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why my sound would go out on me. I would think that my microphone would, if anything. Which it sounds like it's not.
What were you doing there? Attempting to hide?
Well,
I am currently just standing looking towards him, not making an attempt to hide, really. Thinking
I am
that
unsure
the
how to
crowd
proceed
is...
in a situation like this. I can hear sound from other sources on my computer. But, actually...
As I am right now, I'm trying.
Yeah, why don't we... Perhaps we will split this session into 2 parts. I'm going to stop the broadcast. Hopefully we can resolve this. Sorry to anyone who might be watching out there. This will be session 5.1, I guess.